Hello and good morning, everyone. Sorry, I didn't realize how loud that was going to be. I'm Frankie T. I'm Frankie Table, and here with my team today for the inaugural Generative AI conference. Woo! So day one is all about creativity. Generative AI is obviously disrupting the creative space. It's super exciting, and then day two is going to focus on some of the more hairy topics, the darker issues, the risks, things like deep fakes, AI ethics. But for today, it's super optimistic. It's hopefully going to be inspiring, practical, and each one of the different industries, we can all take something away from one another. There'll be a lot of cross learnings across the board. So we will be touching on the arts, fashion, gaming, film, music, real selection of people from across the board. So I think you'll really enjoy today. And I liken this time to the 60s when it was a real sort of cultural, creative revolution. Now with generative AI, we can all, get a bit more in touch with our creativity. Obviously, we're not on psychedelics, but if anyone's been on, in Mid-Journey, it's a little bit like going down the rabbit hole and being on a psychedelic trip. So yes, that's my little intro spiel for this morning's session, and I'll now hand it over to our first speaker, who is Darien Davis, and he is a Mid-Journey maestro, and he'll be running through some of his very cool artwork, and he teaches a lot of people how to use Mid-Journey. So over to you.
Thank you. Hi guys, thank you for having me. Let's begin. So firstly I want to thank Stella and Frankie and the organisers here for inviting me to be part of this and opening up the path for us all to push into the future. It's an interesting time and it's great to be here. So today I want to talk about unleashing creativity, so lateral thinking and generative AI in design. Fun little image right there. Now, we're living in a moment where the potential to deliver on our ideas and our own creativity knows very few bounds. Where it's possible to realise fresh perspectives and opportunities and tools to reach and achieve new and unusual design challenges. Now, the integration of lateral thinking and generative AI can empower us to create near limitless technical possibilities and push the boundaries of how we realise our imaginations in the physical world. There's a lot of images. I apologise in advance. Now, lateral thinking, popularised by Edward de Bono, encourages us to break free from conventional patterns of thinking to discover unconventional solutions. These are useful, especially in design. By embracing ambiguity, questioning assumptions, and approaching problems from unexpected angles, lateral thinking can help us to overcome creative blocks and unleash our true creative potential. There are many tools to use, but few are so far at the forefront of the potential for realising these as Mid-Journey, so for that reason it's a focus. Now, as a Mid-Journey trainer, Mid-Journey maestro trainer, I focus on developing the capacity of my students to assess and understand how they think about design challenges in order to find unique approaches to fulfilling them. Many of us want to unlock new possibilities in visual storytelling, but what is the right way to go about this? There's no easy way around this, but that's the truth. So I advise my students to lean in and build upon their own unique foundations, which are as unique as they are. But key to this is having a clear idea of application and or intent. Crafting thought-provoking prompts or setting out to do so is crucial when working with generative AI. for increased impact in image making. And these prompts can act as a bridge between our ingenuity and the AI creativity, enabling us to create visually unexpected results, often, but not always. It can help to explore a style positioned first, before immersing yourself in both the technical and creative approaches most suitable to a specific application. And to get started, it is always recommended that you situate what it is that you want to create in one of three areas. So artistic, artisanal, painted, gouache, hand pencil drawn, photographic, or in a CG digital art style, which typically straddles the line between the two. Lateral thinking exercises can help you envision what you want to achieve more clearly in these styles. For example, metaphor mapping, where we think of a metaphor that best describes our concept or what we want to convey through the artwork. Word association, where we think of a keyword related to the subject matter we want to convey and come up with as many related words as possible. Or object association, where we think of an object that represents the feeling or concept we want to convey with our digital art. The only limits are what you can come up with. Now, following on from this, there are three further ways you can think about how you might deliver a high-impact image using one of these three different styles. Personal experience, where you think of a personal experience that relates to the subject matter you want to convey. I'll leave you to imagine whether or not I really did see a mermaid or not. Storytelling, where you tell a story that captures the mood and atmosphere you want to convey in your image. Maybe you want to put yourself in the frame. This can be done quite easily, and it's only getting easier. Reverse thinking, where you think about what you don't want to include in your digital art. Often this takes the form of negative prompting. Often knowing what you don't want can be as important as knowing what you do want. Now, why Midjourney? Well, at present, it is among the most powerful and importantly user-friendly options for generating generative art. Whether in achieving photorealism or more traditional artistic style works, there appear to be very few limits to using tools like this. We're still working them out. But a major challenge many people using Midjourney still face is getting it to do what I want. It seems to have a mind of its own, and what words should I use and why? Early on in my own journey with Midjourney, I established that there are three main areas and challenges that people face. And these are, in no order of importance, coming up with ideas, formulating language to convey ideas, and changing variables in language to achieve specific results. Now, I ask my students to prioritize which of these areas they feel is their biggest stretch, i.e. that which they find most complex to deliver on. I tell them there are no right answers, and this is true. We all find different things difficult. What's interesting is that the challenges most people face are formulating language to convey ideas and changing variables in language to achieve specific results. What's even more interesting is that these are mostly procedural rather than creative concerns. They seem more technical, and in a sense, they are. In 1985, Edward de Bono released a bestseller entitled 6 Thinking Hats, which teaches simple techniques to tap into the brain's different modes of thinking. He also invented the term lateral thinking. The principles he outlined in the book develop our capacity for heuristics. And heuristics are mental shortcuts commonly used to simplify problems and avoid cognitive overload. They're part of how the human brain is evolved and is wired, allowing individuals to quickly reach reasonable conclusions and solve complex problems. Now, one such technique, which rather poetically mirrors the AI we communicate with, in the case of Midjourney and similar tools, is the white hat. Now, the white hat is all about information. Think hard facts and figures as opposed to the red hat, which is more about feelings and emotions. Creating images with Midjourney and similar tools can neatly reflect both of these approaches, since people often set out to create from a feeling or more abstract impulse, but to deliver it using language prompts, we need to do so in a manner that gets us closer to the intent that we're seeking. With the white hat on, we can ask the following questions and apply these to our thinking and subsequently how we prompt. What information do we have? What information do we need? What information is missing? What questions do we need to ask? How are we going to get the information we need? How does this apply to a prompt in Midjourney? Well, what information do we need or have about what we would like to convey in an image? This could take the form of knowledge of artistic or photographic tools used to create certain types of imagery, photographic or artistic approaches that exist as references in common media, which is being cited by the tool, and or contextual information related to the specifics of the image that we're trying to create. For example, if we're conveying an image of a medieval character, are we situating it in realism using available, accurate historical knowledge? What information we need can be answered by plugging the gap once we've assessed what we have. What information is missing defines the gap between what we have and what we need. What questions we need to ask will define itself in understanding what information is missing and generating questions around this to accordingly bridge the gap. How we are going to get the information we need will be directly tied to our willingness to embark on the path of research and understanding about areas we are not yet experts in. Sometimes it just requires an internet search. In the age of AI assistants like ChatGPT and Bard and the like, it can be as simple or as complex as asking or training for recommendations on specific areas of research to imbue more believable realism and impact around a particular subject. But what about ideas? Now, if coming up with ideas is a challenge, this is not unusual, and there is nothing wrong with this. In fact, by establishing this as an area that needs development, we come closer to being able to actually close that gap. Wearing the green hat, we put forward possibilities and allocate specific time to this task. Wearing the green hat, we suggest courses of action. We could do this, or this, or this. And while wearing the green hat, we intentionally do not wear the red hat, where we add our feelings to our ideas, or the white hat, where we use facts, figures, or information to qualify those ideas. And if the green hat produces lots of ideas and possibilities, the red hat may be used to pick out those that resonate with us the most, or fulfill a particular function. Most of all, it is about the deliberate creation of new ideas, alternatives and more alternatives, new concepts, new perceptions, change, and new approaches to problems. Now, to quote De Bono, lateral thinking is directly based on information behavior in active, self-organizing information systems. But this is, to me, a little opaque, murky, unclear. I prefer lateral thinking is pattern switching in an asymmetrical patterning system. This could very easily describe how prompts operate. So we have a basic structure, typically taking the form of focus, subject, environment, style, technical approach, framing. However, within this, there is room to place emphasis on any one of these areas, the order in which they appear, and the measurable impact on the associated output images. But there is an asymmetry to the process bound up in one simple, undeniable fact. We always give up some small degree of control in the creative process. Now we can push against this or develop our curatorial and problem-solving skills to get us closer to what fulfills our original intent, with some margins allowed for discernible differences. What this means, in simple terms, is that it can be helpful to focus more on creating images which convey the letter of our creative intent, rather than treating AI tools like Midjourney as a human designer who will be able to push one element in an image 2 millimeters to the right or 20 millimeters to the bottom from the margins at the top. It won't work for everything, and for those willing to go deeper, there are tools like Stable Diffusion, ControlNet, LoRa's, Dream Booth, and the like, which enable us more granular control, but also come with higher technical demands for the average user. What this means is that we can see Midjourney as more of a co-pilot, while recognizing that it will apply aspects of its own, for want of a better word, style, to the images you prompt it to create. A caveat with this, by process of elimination and statistical likelihood, if you run endless variations on a single image that is almost but not quite what you want, eventually you may well get what you were looking for. But A, there is no guarantee of this, and B, only you can decide how much your time and efforts in this area will be worth. Instead, leaving a certain amount of room for the unknown can prevent frustration. It can also determine the approach you take for specific goals. It's highly plausible that for certain applications, the better option will be to generate elements which can then be separately combined by a human designer into a unified and cohesive whole. And this is where the intersection of approaches becomes paramount and defines the planning process, how we assess the design challenge, followed by how are we going to fulfill it. There are no right answers here, since each application is different. However, knowing these things ahead of time can prevent stumbling around in image generation and more quickly achieving the desired result. We've mentioned human designers, and this is obviously a hot topic, but AI does not inherently display the capacity to curate, at least in the context of what for humans subjectively works and doesn't. This is a sensitive, hard skill area, typically born of a person's artistic and cultural sensitivities, knowledge and exposure to a wide variety of images, the result being a more heuristic approach to what works and doesn't for image applications. We could conceivably train AI to curate based on our own tastes, but we would still have to prompt for that curation. And for these reasons and more, Midjourney is better seen as something akin to a magic paintbrush, or perhaps a broom that can clean by itself. Now, for anyone who's not seen Fantasia or the Sorcerer's Apprentice sequence, it's fantastic, watch it. But essentially, the Sorcerer's Apprentice, tired of fetching water by pail, uses magic that he's not yet ready for to try and get the broom to do the work for him. But the apprentice realizes he cannot stop the broom. As the apprentice splits the broom in two with an axe, each piece becomes a whole broom, fetching pails at twice the speed. And the idea concludes with the old sorcerer's statement that only a master should invoke powerful spirits. Now, this is not to add fuel to the fire over whether artificial intelligence is alive or not. What it does highlight is that without a certain level of knowledge or intent, it can be the case in prompting, we do not always achieve what we want. resulting in chaos we may feel we can neither contain nor comprehend. By developing our own tools for how we engage with language, whether that be working backwards and curating our initial prompts like stories, or using tools to write them for us, understanding the positions of words and why words are important is paramount. An easy, if occasionally monotonous, way to do so already exists in marketing optimization and testing. If we apply A/B testing to our prompts, followed by studying the results under certain conditions, we can quickly work out where they're working and where they're not working. It really is that simple. Yes, if you cite prime lenses for photorealistic images, you will typically get better results due to the vast body of available visual references for why prime lenses convey a more professional visual look to photo images. But understanding which prime lenses are appropriate for which use cases is something anyone can develop with internet research, and will bring you closer to the kind of thinking that directors of photography apply when choosing the right lens for the right shot. Ultimately, shallow understanding of tools will only ever get you so far. So it is also important to work out for yourself how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. What is clear is that anyone with little more than a mobile phone or a tablet and an internet connection can now generate imagery that can compete on a world stage traditionally upheld by cultural and economic barriers to entry. Anyone with the right kind of motivation can use these tools to create incredible images and more. And the sooner we push beyond the technical challenges and start embracing the intrinsically human storytelling, applications, and use cases, the more creatively empowered and powerful we will all be in the end. Thank you.